So, how do you collect petitions? So, the rules for the petitions are the Supreme Court ruling need 25% of 8% of votes cast in at least 14 congressional districts. I'm going to put that piece to the side for right now. What we need to think about is we need 891,589 petitions. We need that number to get this on the ballot. That's why overall, you might have heard we need 1 million signatures. We need 1.5 million signatures to ensure that we get this 891,000. The petitions are being collected now from volunteers all over the state, like yourselves, the League of Women Voters. There's many other organizations that are collecting petitions on behalf of Floridians protecting freedom. And I just want to pause for 1 second. This isn't the Planned Parenthood ballot initiative. It's Floridians protecting freedom. Planned Parenthood is one of the leading partners in this, along with Florida Rising, Women's Voices of Southwest Florida. There's other groups involved in this that are all helping to get petitions. So, but Planned Parenthood is one of the leaders in the movement to get the ballot initiative. So we need a ton of signatures from all over, from everyone. So some tips for collecting petitions: large events, places where a lot of people are, concerts, sporting events, regularly popular locations, libraries. That's a great place. College campuses, speaking engagements. I'm trying to think here locally. I'm right now just came to my mind, Ringling Town Hall. There's always a lot of people that attend that. And those are kind of like-minded people that you could just have a few of you out with clipboards and asking people for their signatures, maybe on their way in, or if you want to do on their way out. So speaking engagements. And then obviously the easiest thing that everyone should do is just petition with your friends and family, those that you know are like-minded, register. And the main thing is anyone signing this petition needs to be a registered voter in the state of Florida, first and foremost, in order to sign a petition. But going to friends and family is an easy first step in securing petitions. The supplies that you will need. I always tell people have multiple clipboards. I have a tote bag in my car with 4 clipboards. There's probably 20 petitions on each, and I have 10 pins in that bag. So if I run into someone, I can get them a petition out of my car. If I went to a concert at the Bay recently for Mother's Day, and I was like, I'm sure I'll know 5 or 6 people out here. And I did. I put my clipboard in my purse and got some signatures that way. So always be ready, have things on hand. I say multiple clipboards too, because if there's a couple, you can just say, give them each one and they can do it at the same time. People don't want to wait. Sometimes they'll sign it, but they're in a rush. You want to make it easy and convenient for anyone who's signing. And then tables, just like at the Stay Woke rally, there was a table. So if there's events in which you can have a table, have petitions out there, you're spreading awareness about your organization and also collecting petitions at the same time. So that's always an opportunity. And 2, if there's tabling opportunities, let me know. It might be something Planned Parenthood should, have a table and, get petitions or spread the word about our healthcare services. This is a script, and I'm going to put a link to a volunteer guide that will have all of this in there. I'll put that in the chat. But this is basically the script. When you're collecting, you can use this or you can make it your own. When I'm volunteering on my own and getting petitions, I say, hi, how are you? Have you had a chance to sign the petition to get abortion on the ballot in 2024? And usually they'll say, no. And I'll say, okay, well, are you a registered voter in the state of Florida? And if they say yes, then I continue on and showing them the petition and how they should properly fill it out. If they are not a registered voter, thank you. Can I direct you to our website? You can find more about the ballot initiative and consider a donation to the campaign. If they can't sign, they can give $5. That's just kind of how I feel, but that's another way, because donations are important and we do need donations as well. And I'll go a little bit into some of the financials of this ballot initiative. The main thing too, if you ask someone to sign the petition and they say, no, okay, thank you. We're not arguing with anyone. We're not trying to change their mind. They may want clean water and not want abortion, and that's their right to do that. So we want to keep everyone safe. Me as manager of volunteers and community programs, I want our volunteers to have a safe and positive experience when they are collecting petitions. So again, if someone doesn't want to sign it, okay, thank you, and just move on to the next person. And if anyone has questions, you are welcome to ask. I can't see the, if anyone has their hand raised, so just stop me if anyone has questions. This is basically, you know, kind of what I went over. You can always introduce yourself. I'm a volunteer with Floridians Protecting Freedom, or I'm a volunteer with the League of Women Voters. Whatever you, however you want to introduce yourself, you can do that. You have the scripts as well. And then the quality control on the petitions. You want to keep them neat, not, you know, wrinkled up with, you know, stains or anything like that on them. These documents are going to the supervisors of elections office where they need to be, you know, counted and everything. So you want to keep them clear. When people are writing, you want to make sure that you can read it. If you can read what they wrote, the supervisors of elections can read it. If you can't, try to ask them to sign it, you know, to do another petition, or, you know, try to reach out to them at a later point, but you need to be able to read the petition. The quality control is very, very important. Every petition needs to be signed and it needs to be dated with the, you know, the date that they are signing. Common mistakes with petitions, incomplete address, again, missing signature. My favorite, people write country instead of county. Whenever I am volunteering and getting petitions, I take the, let me get a blank one just to show. Whenever I have the petition, I have it and I point to where it says county. I say, this says county, not country, right? Sarasota, Manatee, Lee, Collier, whatever your county, write that. Because sometimes people, again, they're in a rush. They're not really reading it, paying attention. If you're at a festival, they might have an adult beverage in one hand, a pen in the other. So make sure that that says county. And again, make sure it is legible and that you can read what the person wrote. Always be polite, respect personal space. And as Sean was saying about, you know, where you are petitioning, make sure you have permission, that you're not trespassing or, you know, causing any kind of upset. Don't argue. Again, we're not changing minds. Just say thank you and keep going. You know, keep it simple. A lot of people, you know, some are know about this already, but, you know, if they have questions, you can always answer questions, you know, that they may have. There's different talking points. Again, that's on the volunteer guide that I'll put in the chat as well. So if there's any talking points you want to, you know, kind of have in your top of mind, some people might say, you know, I don't know. And, you know, they might want to sign it. And if you can give them one or two talking points, that might convince them to sign it. But again, that's only if they're unsure or if they have, you know, additional questions. If they say no, thank you and walk away.
Danielle,
Yes.
so when do these petitions need to, when do these 891,000 petitions need to be gathered by? What's the date?
So the deadline for the petitions, in a sense, there's two. The main deadline is December 31st, which is my birthday. So hopefully none of you will forget. And that's all I want this year, is to have all of these signatures in. So by December 31st, we want to have the majority of all the signatures in. I's dotted, T's crossed. We actually have until February 1st, 2024. That's like the absolute drop dead deadline. So December 31st, but I'm going to have an update on that date towards the end of the presentation, because I have some other news to share about that. But December 31st, you can keep that in your mind. And also about dates, the petitions, don't hold on to them. If you get them, try to get them into the PO box within like 7 to 14 days. We do need to get these to the supervisors of elections office within a certain amount of time. So just make sure you get them in as soon as you get them. Don't hold on and then say, oh, I'm going to send these in August. Like if they're dated, you know, July, hurry and get them in.
So delivering them to the SOE, or is there another?
No, there's hubs, and we'll talk about some of the hubs.
All right,
That's where you can deliver, or you can mail them to the PO box on the petition. Some other things to remember: gather petitions on public property. You know, it's expected people are going to say no, and that's fine. And again, treat these like gold, because they go through, you know, they get signed and then they get mailed to a PO box, which comes here to me, and then they're processed by volunteers. So they're going through many hands. So you want to just make sure they're intact. I promise you, and Margaret can attest to this, sometimes we get petitions and they're ripped already, or they're just not in good condition or anything like that. I have a comedy of petitions of, I'm like, I can't believe someone sent this. Someone printed a petition on Avery labels, folded it, put it in an envelope and mailed it. And then when you opened it, the labels just came off. So be careful with the, I kid you not, labels. Abortion is essential, as is clipboard quality control. These are some, you know, FAQs. No one can you sign more than one petition? No. Some people may, you know, there's a lot of petitions going around and they'll say, I don't know, I might have, I can't remember. You know, if someone signs one or two that, you know, they've signed before, they're okay. But on the petition, it is a misdemeanor if you knowingly sign multiple petitions. I know the language is on the bottom of the petition. It says it is a first-degree misdemeanor to knowingly sign the same petition more than once. So if someone says they've signed it, thank you so much for your support. They don't need to sign another one.
So is there some way, like, you know, is there some way somebody could find out if they did? No, they just have to remember, oh, good Lord.
Yeah, and not just on, you know, there's no, like, for example, if someone says, oh, I don't know my name on my voter registration, there's certain things you can go online to the supervisor of elections and tell that person right then and there. But as far as like finding out if they've signed it or not, there's no way that you can tell. And a lot of people have already signed it. So if they say they have, I pretty much believe them.
So although I will clarify, this is Sean, my understanding is if, you know, say you signed it when it first came out, and then it's several months later and you forgot that you signed it and you just have one additional one and it was not purposeful, you just totally spaced out and forgot, that's not likely to be a misdemeanor. It's more if there was intent.
If it was like 100,
Yeah.
Sean Bartlett signing this, Sean's in trouble. Sean
Or
might
10. Yeah, 10.
Right.
Danielle, there's a question about crossouts. I've got people who, in the zip code, they put Florida first, you know, they
Yeah.
can Sarasota, Florida. I heard that if you have just one crossout, it's okay. If you have the crossout with your signature, you know, initialing, it's okay. Or do you have to have them do it completely over if there's any crossouts?
If you are with them and I would have them do another one. If we can't accept crossouts if you can still read what they wrote. If it's initialed, even better, but if it is crossed out, we can take it if you can still read it. If you can still read it.
By the way, excuse me, by the way, at the farmer's market downtown last Saturday, there were paid solicitors on
Mhm.
duty there getting signatures.
Mhm. Yes, and there are paid petitioners that are getting petitions as well. And I can talk a little bit about them as well. Can anyone sign? Only registered voters in the state of Florida. Often young people, they're very excited. During this ballot initiative was the first time I heard about pre-registering to vote that I guess young people can do when they're 16, 17 or so. You have to be registered, 18 years old, registered to vote. Also, you can't register to vote and sign the petition at the same time. It doesn't work out. I don't know when, you know, because you have to send that paperwork into the SOE. We're sending these to the SOE as well. So we don't know when everything gets done. So register to vote first, get your registration confirmation, whatever, then sign the petition. You can't do both at the same time. Can people sign if they move from the address that appears on their voter registration? Yes, there is on the petition. You can put an address and then you can check a box. It says update my voter registration. So they can do that. What color ink? Blue or black? Blue or black. If they do it in red, you can ask them to do it over again. We have heard some SOEs will take red ink or purple ink, but for us, just tell them blue or black. The volunteers need to register with the state. No, they don't. Only the paid ones do. And also you don't have to be 18 to collect petitions. If you know young people that are in high school and want to help, give them a clipboard and the fax, and they can get petitions as well. They can't sign it, but they can collect petitions.
Danielle, if people have moved, but they don't check the update the address, will the petition be thrown out or is it still good?
It will still be good because unless they haven't changed it on their voter registration. I mean, if they've moved and not updated their voter, but they do a petition, whatever the voter registration and the petition, those addresses need to match.
Okay, so because I didn't realize that. I'd never asked people, have you moved since your voter registration? Because they may have registered to vote 10 years ago and now they're signing a petition, so that we really need to emphasize that they need to check that box to update the.
Yeah, or just current, you know, when they're filling it out, make sure it's their current, you know, their current address. And you could.
Well, that
remind
their
them
current
about the
address
voting.
is the same as the one on their voter registration.
Yeah, that's a good update too. We've
Okay.
gotten people's voter registration and their petitions too, not registration, but updating their information as well.
Can I just say, the other thing is that since the state has required us to constantly update our addresses for where we're going to be at voting time,
Right.
it's even more critical because there are plenty of sort of residents who are also have homes in other states.
Right,
And who knows what address is on theirs for,
right. See,
voting time.
it's these things that's why we need 1.5 to get to the 891. You need to make room for all of these, you know, petitions that unfortunately won't be valid. So that's the reason. This part is very important. Can volunteers fix petitions? No. Often you'll get petitions, they're not signed. A big thing is the date. The date they signed it is incomplete. You cannot fill that out. Anything that is missing, the only thing missing could be like the middle name. A lot of people might not have a middle name, but you cannot alter or fill in anything. If a signature is missing, it's invalid. If the date signed is missing, it's invalid. On the petition, it asks for your registration number or your date of birth. If both of those are blank, it's invalid petition. So make sure those things are filled out. And sometimes when people are filling out the petition, they're holding, you know, they're holding it on a clipboard and their thumb is over the signature part, so they don't know to sign it. So make sure after you get it back that they have signed it. Because sometimes they're like, oh, I didn't see that. Well, your thumb was over it. That's why. So just make sure that it is complete. But I had a meeting with our supervisor of elections, Ron Turner, who is actually, he is the president. He's over all of the SOEs statewide. We had a great meeting. He is definitely a man of integrity and stressed not to fill in anything on these petitions. And most of the SOEs statewide, you know, have that as well. They all know about our ballot initiative, and we've actually been reaching out to all 67 SOEs trying to get, you know, some take red ink, or, you know, if they abbreviate your county, is that okay? So we are in touch with them because we just want as many valid petitions early on as we can get. So the process, we were talking, I mentioned hubs earlier. So hubs are local businesses, organizations that you can turn in petitions. Here in Sarasota, the UU Church on Fruitville is a hub. They also need volunteers. They have some people that are, you know, on vacation over the summer, and they're looking for people to help just be there when people drop off petitions. The schedule, I think it's a couple time, it's maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
Thursday and Sunday, 12
Okay.
to 2.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. Those are the opportunities. I heard from Kate Lanneman, who's been very active with that church. So if any of you have the opportunity to also volunteer those times twice a week, it would be very, very helpful. So the UU Church is a hub, and also the Democratic headquarters, kind of near South Sarasota County, that's a hub as well. So the petitions can be dropped off at those locations. Also, there's a PO box on the petition that's Sarasota. Those come straight to our PO box here. And those are opened and sorted twice a week. So that's pretty much the process. You can have it, drop it to a hub, or mail it to a PO box as well.
Can we drop it off at the League of Women Voters?
We don't have a physical.
Not at the League, I mean,
address.
it's the Planned Parenthood. Can we drop it off at Planned Parenthood?
I will say yes if you put it in an envelope with my name on it.
And also, I just want to tell the people here that because we're the League and we're nonpartisan, we are asking people not to drop it off at the Democratic Party. We have a bright line separating us from political parties. Is that correct, Sean?
Yes, it is correct. There are some counties where that is the only hub. And so they can drop it off there because there is no other alternative. But we do have the UU church, and for some people that's challenging because it's 2 days a week, but
Right. So
I
we
think-
did, go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead, finish, Dan.
I was just gonna say, we really need hubs. If you know of an organization or, business that would be a hub, they just need to take a hub training. There are trainings every Thursday at 5 o'clock on how to be a hub. Because you think about, people and access, and, those two locations aren't accessible to everyone. Sarasota is a very large county. You have people out that, might live out in Mayaca or some other areas that, they can't readily get to some of these hubs. So if there's any others that you can identify, even remotely, take a training, find out what all is involved, because it is very, very helpful. And what the hubs do is they send all the petitions once a week that they receive. They send them on to a location in St. Pete where they are further looked at and sent off to the individual supervisors of elections office statewide. If you
Question,
uh-huh.
but if they're registered, there are people who are registered voters now, but they, for some reason, may not be next year. Should we just avoid those people? Like, I know people who have their houses on the market. They would surely sign it now, but who knows whether they'll be here.
Oh, get them to sign it now.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
If they move, they will miss out on history in voting for this next year, but at least they can have a part in getting it on the ballot.
Okay.
So as
It will
long as
help to
they're
get it
still
on the
here.
ballot.
As
Yeah.
long as they're still here and are currently a registered voter.
Right.
As
Right.
long as when the supervisor of elections gets their petition, runs it through, and it all matches, we're good. They can move the next day. It doesn't
Okay.
matter, but
Okay.
yeah, so that is good. If they are submitting to a hub, there is this intake sheet. So if you have your 25 petitions and you go to the UU church and you're like, here's mine, this is a document that you will fill out. This is just a way for the hub to be able to, say, Margaret, 3 of these were wrong, and we have this sheet here. So there's just a way we can track down, any wrong petitions or anything like that. And also, some of the hubs, you can also get more petitions. So you can drop some off and then collect others as well.
Another question.
Mhm.
People don't often have voter registration cards with them. So one thing the petition says is you have to put your name exactly as it appears on your voter registration card, and you should sign it that way. What do we do when people don't know?
Well, they don't need their voter registration. It's voter registration number or date of birth.
Okay, but it actually says the name should appear this exactly
Right.
as it
And
does.
that's up to you. If this
they don't
weekend
know.
we were at St. Pete Pride. And if someone doesn't know, you could get your phone out, go to the Pinellas SOE and look
Okay.
them up.
Mhm.
I'm telling you right now, I don't think a lot of people at St. Pete Pride are gonna wait for that.
Right.
But if someone is really insistent and they have the time, you can take 2 minutes and
Yeah.
find out their information. Oh, you signed it this way, or your name is listed this way. Did you know this is what your address says? If you have the time and opportunity to do that, great. But realistically, when you're out in the public, a lot of people don't really want to wait for that.
Right.
Margaret?
Nancy, what I've been doing with regard to that and getting petitions, completed, is to just say, you should put your name and sign it just like you do when you're at the polls, when you're voting and you sign the register, just like you do when you sign your vote by mail ballot
That's good.
to send it back in. Sign it just the same way you do, when you're voting.
Okay,
And
great.
Danielle is so right about describing Ron Turner as a man of integrity. I also know he's very interested in looking at the intent of a person,
Okay,
the voter.
that's
I'm
great.
not suggesting he'd overlook a huge discrepancy in the names, but in any case, if you can be reasonably sure you're signing it the same way you would if you were voting, I think you're probably okay.
Okay, thanks.
Do you agree with that,
Thank you.
Danielle? I don't want to.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
And there is, I mean, like I said, the SOEs, they have some flexibility. This county will only take blue and black, another might take purple. We're not sure, but, and again, we have a whole spreadsheet of some common questions that we have, and we're getting it populated from all the different SOEs. So we know, like Bay County, they're not taking purple ink, so we can know those things.
So I would imagine Sarasota, if I signed it, Sean Alice Bartelt, but on my voter signature, it's Sean A. Bartelt, they would probably still take it.
Yeah.
But after it goes to the SOE, doesn't it go to Ashley Moody, the Attorney General? And I thought she was like looking to find things wrong with petitions. So if we have an SOE who's pretty flexible, isn't it possible that she would still throw them out at the state level?
That I would hope not, but I can't really speak to like the next level. I just know they go to the SOEs and then they get validated from there. So I'm not sure about that next step with her.
If the SOEs validate them, is it automatic is the question, because what I had heard and, through the grapevine was that they're really looking for any reason to invalidate our petitions. So
that's another reason why on this ground level, we don't want to give them any room. So if we have high quality control when we're first getting these petitions, and we don't have to worry about once it gets to Ashley. We know that they'll all be great. And another reason we're getting the 1.5 to ensure we have the 891, 589. So what if it gets weird? It's not going to get weird, because if someone says no, what are we going to do?
Thank you.
And walk away. Yeah. So if something does happen, there's links here that you can report anything to if you are, harassed or anything like that. We haven't had any major issues. The media, if you are approached by the media, we love everyone is volunteers and doing their part, and that's great. But we do have designated people. I am not one of them that is able to speak to the ballot initiative. And this is an email address that if a reporter is talking to you, actually, you can email this person and they can talk better about this. But yeah, again, safety is our number one concern with volunteers that are collecting out in the community. Is to just be safe, stay in safe locations. I will say that there's people that have a lot of success outside of libraries with, we here have abortionist healthcare signs. I know in Fort Myers and Naples, I'm working with the Now chapter. They have those large classic, oh my gosh, what's it say? Safe legal abortions. It's the big round blue and white signs. Really, yes, keep abortion legal. Thank you, Vilya. You have that next to you sitting on a bench, flies to honey. People like-minded will come to you. If I'm wearing a shirt that has abortion on it, this happened to me the other day at the grocery store. I saw a I was walking out and a woman came out of the salon and she said, "I like your shirt." And I said, "Well, thank you. Have you," and I had, and my shirt said, "Our bodies, our futures, our abortions." And then I said, "Have you had a chance to sign the petition to get abortion on the ballot in 2024? And she said, "No, I don't know anything about it." I ran to my car and I got a petition and she signed it right then and there. So that's a good way as well. So anything like that to start conversations. And I say too, anytime I wear a shirt with abortion on it, someone always stops me. I've had men, women, been on a flight attendant, "I like your shirt." So that's a way it just opens up the conversation. And then you can either tell them, if you don't have a petition, tell them about the ballot initiative and tell them the website, floridiansprotectingfreedom.com, and have them go from there.
Danielle, I have the grab them by the ballot t-shirt. It says grab them by the ballot. It's a League of Women Voters t-shirt. And I've had so many people come up to me in restaurants and other places wearing that. And I have the petition in my purse. And when they say they like my t-shirt, I said, "Have you heard about the petition for reproductive freedom?" "No." "Are you interested?" "Yes." And yeah, I've had a shocking number of people, but it is good if you can have a shirt or a sign or something. And then
Yeah.
the people who are interested will.
I love that. And I need to look and find that shirt because I would
It's,
love
I
it.
Okay,
know.
okay, they're in the mail, they're almost to my house. And I have them
Okay.
in a variety of sizes, tank tops.
All right. Debbie, you email me as soon as those come in.